Brocas Helm, welcome to 69 Faces of Rock. Please introduce yourself and tell me what you do in the band.
My name is Bobbie Wright. I play the guitar and I sing. And I'm supposed to get 2 shares of the money, but this guy won't let me have it.
And
Singer
who is that guy?
I am the Schumacher, and I am a bass playing motherfucker and the face of the band, so that's where I get.
I'm Jack. Play drums.
As a band, when did you guys form? It's been a while, but what was the initial thing?
81, 80?
I don't know, 40 years ago.
Alright.
40 years ago. But because of the COVID, this is our 40th anniversary right now, but because of the COVID, we decided that we're going to make it the 40th anniversary of the first record in 1984.
Got it.
So it's over 40 years.
When you first formed, what goals did you have in mind?
Women
Okay.
and sex with women and drugs. And
European
booze.
tours.
And
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
did that come true for you?
All we got was the tours.
yeah.
A lot of
Okay.
beer.
Did you say fuck? I'm sorry.
You could. First album. Want to show the album and say a few things about it?
One of my favorites.
Into the Battle. So what memories do you have of writing, making, recording?
We pretty much each wrote half of this thing and then just stuck it together. Recorded it. Shitty cover. We hate the shitty cover. This is not our cover. The record company tacked that on at the last second without asking us.
We had another member, John Gray, but he got married or something, and we told him, come on, we're going to play on this record, and he was preoccupied. So we became 3-piece again.
Any quotes from you?
No, it was an amazing time.
You told me about the cover. So what was the problem with the first album cover?
We had an artist named Vern Malagat, or Vern in Hell, very fine artist. He made a cover which is available in some of the reissues of A Knight and a Castle, you know, the normal stuff. And the record company thought that they wanted to do this, so they did not use the original cover, and they made this themselves, basically without our knowledge. So that was the problem.
How would you say that album do?
Pardon?
How did that album do when it came out?
On one chart, we were number 10, and John Bon Jovi was number 1.
Yeah, we're number 5.
Pardon me?
Number 5.
Number 5.
For, you know, a week or two. But when it originally came out, it did okay, and then just kept growing and growing and growing and growing, and then it did well with in Germany, because in Germany they keep the money and put it in some kind of bank account, so we actually got money for like royalties and stuff. So it was okay. People liked it. It's different. It's not the same. A lot of thrash was coming out in San Francisco, and we weren't really thrash. We were something different, because we played because we wanted the women, and a lot of the thrash, there was no women were coming to the thrash.
I agree.
I mean, none.
I used to go to these shows.
You know, we started and the women were beautiful, you know, nylons, heels, all that stuff. Then when the thrash came, it was like, what happened, you know? So, but we didn't change, we kept going. We wrote a couple of thrash songs, but it's not us.
How did things progress from the first album to the second, which is Black Death?
We were supposed to give the record company another record, and I don't know, there was sort of maybe this isn't working out so well, so we gave them some demo, and they didn't think that was what they wanted, and we wanted to do this stuff that we liked differently, and so we ended up basically building a recording studio at Bob's house and recording the second one ourselves there.
So here it is, Black Death. You want to show it and say anything that kind of comes back on the recording of this album?
Black Death. There's a good-looking man back there in the back. Look how young we are.
That's right.
Yeah, we had just, what's his name? The guy who did the cover?
I can't remember.
Sean something.
Yeah.
You know.
This guy Sean did the cover.
Sean Wyatt.
Sean Wyatt. Yeah, he did this great cover. He also did a Misfits comic book, but you'll see a lot of his art in our stuff from that era.
And
I like it better, recording better than that one.
as far as career, what did Black Death do for you, career-wise?
We tried to sell it. We made it completely, and we went to some conventions and stuff, and we tried to sell it, and most people were into the thrash. But we actually met Gene Simmons from Kiss, who had a record company at the time, and he was the smartest guy in the room, and he at least gave us the respect of saying, hey, I'm going to listen to your record, I'm going to drop the needle in a few places, if I hear something, I'll call you. And so at least he was cool about it. Whereas most record companies were, hey, what's your sister look like? So Simmons never called. I mean, I think he went with the Bullet Boys at that time, a band called the Bullet Boys.
Yeah.
But at least he was cool about it, so that was good. But it just keeps going. It keeps selling. People love it. I don't know why, but they love it. I love it.
The other thing it did for us was it took a while, but it became popular in Greece some years later, which ended up leading to us being able to go there and play lots of times and have lots of fans there, and it kind of grew from that one. It took 5 years or more before they sort of like picked up on it, but
That's weird.
No.
Everything
Did a lot
about
for
making
us.
a record.
There was a 4-year wait time in between the first album and the second. Did that affect your fan base at all?
We never quit. We always played, just sometimes small shows. We always played. We never quit. So there was always shows going on, but some were smaller shows for Ron Quintana. We did some shows for him. I don't know if you know who that is from
Yeah.
KUSF.
Oh yeah, I'm friends with him.
He had some club called the Night Break. We would play small shows there, but it was fun. It was good. It was still going on.
When Black Death came out, was it any touring done, US-wise, world-wise?
Nope.
No?
There was, we had some type of offer, but we had to pay money or something to
Pay to play.
finance it and then get money later, but you can't never trust that's going to happen.
When you reflect back on the first 2 records, how do you feel about them now?
More people like them, man. More people like them now than ever before.
True, I agree. What about you as a band? I mean, would you go back, change things, or you like things how they are?
I just say leave it alone.
Yeah.
It's just, that's what it was at the time, and that's what it is, and that's what people like.
proud that we stuck with what we were doing. Right? There was a lot of pressure to move to do thrash more because that was what everybody was doing. But we kind of liked what we were doing.
Yeah, the marketing back then was quite intense, that's for sure. In 1989, you made another demo. What was happening in the band at that time?
Drink it dry.
1989, I think there might have.
It's kind of blurry.
It's when I think we stopped using drugs because they were not as good anymore. The quality went down.
And then there was no release up until 1994, which you did like an EP, I believe, right? So what was kind of going on in between 89 and that's 5 years, right there.
Like Nirvana, maybe?
Yeah, how did that affect you?
Well, it was a lot of rock and roll in San Francisco was going real strong, a lot of clubs, then like almost overnight it was like stopped and changed. And there was a lot of pay to play going on back like in 89, so we still do shows, but we would get offered big shows, and at the last minute they'd say, well, gee, we need to make $500 or so, just forget this crap. But the grunge thing really slowed not just us, but I think you see how the hair metal went away. We were never hair metal.
Pretty much hear it across the board.
It just changed everything.
That if you were melodic and wrote catchy songs, your existence was limited.
Yeah, so.
And if you look homeless, then maybe you could have made something.
Yeah, it hurt me when Kurt, the terrible problem that occurred. It hurt me still, but I was never like mad at him, but I was like, well, this is life.
Yeah. In the late 90s, you did some singles. How did those do?
They did good.
Yeah?
They did good.
And those were like vinyl releases?
Yes.
Right. And who was actually buying all that stuff? Because, vinyl was kind of...
I don't know, but people were buying them. And we'd sell them at shows.
A lot of them went to Greece, I think. The Greeks like that stuff.
Whenever we did a show, we would sell a lot because I think it was a novelty thing. A lot of the people didn't even have a record player, but they wanted to have the record as like a you know, something cool to have. And now they play them because they got record players again.
That's true. All right. So then nothing until 2004, and that year brought your first album in many years, which is Defender of the Crown. I want to show that. And what finally happened that made you want to release the record and have it available?
The Greeks, Greg Versamis and Manolis Karazaris and a bunch of Greek guys told us to come over and play in Greece in 2001. So we did, and I think I've never been sicker in my life, and we were all sick, but we played the show, and even though it wasn't the greatest show in the world, they still loved it and made a record of it, so it was kind of like inspired us to do it. And then we were offered to go to Headbangers Open Air and Keep It True, and we said, hey, you know, somebody likes this, let's keep going, let's make a record. So we did.
So did you find that you had like a bigger following in Europe at this point?
Yes.
Great. We've always had a bigger following.
And why do you think Europeans picked up on Brocas Helm more than locally here, Americans?
I don't think they go with the latest trend. If they like something, they like it forever.
True.
So,
I think the Americans are
whereas in America, the trend changes every few months, and people will completely change from one year to the next. And you know, they love someone one year, they hate them the next year.
Well, what if MTV can come out and say your music no longer matters and people believe it? I don't think that's right.
That's not good.
And that's exactly what happened.
And there's no more music on MTV, is there? I don't see.
None. But even back then, when they had all this control, all of a sudden they switched from Friday to Saturday. I mean, literally the bands you love, grew up with for the last 7, 8, 9 years,
Right.
were sidelined.
You know, and a lot of that music's good music, but it's just that they go with the trend. Whereas the Europeans don't. They love you forever.
So, how would you describe a typical Brocas Helm fan?
Not
Very faithful. Very enthusiastic.
more intellectual. They're not just in for the primal dance rhythm. They want to figure out what exactly does that mean. You know, they're always asking me, what does that mean? So a lot of the lyrics are allegorical, and so they're wondering what exactly are they trying to say. You know, like in Drink the Blood of the Priest. It's not what it says. It's, you know what I mean.
Yeah. What was happening since the release of this album musically for you?
Been doing shows. 2000 every couple years we do either a small tour or a show in Europe. Keep It True. Constantly writing music and stuff like that.
Is there any music on the horizon that you possibly might release?
Yeah, there's plenty of music on the horizon. If we can get one guy to agree to actually do something.
And who is that guy?
That would be me.
All right, and what's the holdback?
I don't know if I can record with these assholes anymore. Drive me crazy.
Well, you guys are gonna have to work it out somehow, because I think the fans are out there, especially in Greece.
It's one of the problems with the last one. It took years to mix it.
Yeah, it did,
It was done in weeks.
but it was worth the wait.
No, it should have been out.
I noticed that shirt you're wearing there.
Yes. So it seems like you kind of became like a festival band for US and Europe. How are you enjoying playing those big stages?
Oh, it's great. We love it. It's basically, you know, we have to pay bills and we can't make enough money to just do this alone. And we refuse to be poor musicians. So, you know, we got to take care of people and families. It takes money. You can't just drop everything and go all the time. So the festivals are perfect because we go there and have a great time.
So finally, you had been a band for 40 years. What are your personal highlights of those 40 years? And maybe we'll begin here. Personal highlight, or one or few.
I mean, the albums are great, and then we got to play a lot of shows. Since the early 2000s, we've been able to play in Europe a bunch of times, so I feel good about it. I'm proud of what we've done.
Excellent. Personal highlights.
First time we went to Greece, we hit the airport and they were standing there with a banner waiting for us. They motioned, come on, you'll need to go through customs. They pulled us over. They took us to parties day in, day out. They waited downstairs in the lobby till we'd get up. They'd drink all night and wait for us to get up and take us places. They made a cake with our picture on it, took us places to eat, and treated us like gods.
Love it.
For me, it was, I went and saw Metallica, and the crowd were singing along with James. And I was not jealous of Metallica or money or whatever. I like Metallica, but I was like, man, they're singing with them. That's so great. Then our next show in Europe, the crowd was singing and knew all the words. And I said, man, now that was it. They knew the words and they sang. And lucky, because some of the words I forgot, but I could sing along with them. So they thought they were singing with me, but I'm singing with them, and it worked out. So to me, that was really something. I really liked it.
Outstanding. Thank you.
Great.